What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of A Day in the Life podcast with me, Christian, and my wife.
Hi.
How's everybody doing? Hopefully, everybody is being safe in these times of quarantine. These last couple weeks have been a little crazy. I know some people have been in quarantine for more than us. We've been in quarantine for about 4 weeks. And I know other places have been in quarantine for up to 6 to maybe 8 weeks. So, hopefully everybody's being safe, wearing a mask. Hopefully everybody's keeping their
6 feet.
6 feet social distancing. I'm a little tired, so. But yeah, how are you doing?
I'm tired.
Yeah.
Tired of being stuck
That's true
at
too.
home. I don't know. It feels like it's a lot when you're not really doing a lot.
Right.
So it can get kind of exhausting.
Yeah, I feel you. I think right now is kind of like the test time where we're really being tested on. I think I heard about this the other day on the radio where this time is like this is a good time for us to test one, our mental stability, but for couples like for example us that were married, it's testing our relationship and how we can survive through these times where I'm considered an essential worker, so I'm still working. But for others, for example, that are stuck in their house with their significant other and their kids and whatnot, I feel like for them, they're used to their routine where they don't see each other 24/7. So it's easy for them to be apart from each other and not deal with each other 24/7. But when you have to deal with that person 24/7, then you start to realize that maybe their relationship isn't as strong as it is.
It puts you through a test.
Yeah, it puts you through that test of are you really still in love with your significant other? And so I think we're dealing with it pretty well.
I mean, when we first started dating, we were together 24/7.
I mean, not 24/7, but yeah, we were together quite a bit more than it felt like it was marriage. But
We were always together.
I think we've figured out the balance between how much you should talk to me and how much I should talk to you, and
What
how much
buttons to
space.
push,
Yeah, what
yeah.
buttons to push. Yeah, I think we've got it figured out a little bit. I wouldn't say we're perfect, but close to it, I feel. We know when to approach each other after a fight. We know that if we argue, just leave me be for a couple minutes.
We need to chill out.
Yeah. And I think Will Smith and Jada Pinkett Smith said this best one time in their Red Table Talk, I believe, where they said, I can't deal with you after the fight. You need to go to a separate room and cool down, and then once we're both cooled down, we come together and then we talk about what happened.
Yeah.
And then we fix the issue, because there's no such thing as we can't solve the problem, because nothing is ever we
not
can't solve
instant.
it. Yeah. But
Yeah.
I think sometimes it's good to just not have to deal with that problem. If it's something big, you just have to make sure that you leave me to cool down, or I leave you to cool down, so then we come back with the level head to say, okay,
Yep.
now we know. But yeah, it's been a interesting last couple weeks for us. But we're getting through it. We're making sure that as time progresses, supposedly these next 2 weeks are supposed to be
1 week left.
1 week is supposed to be the hardest week, so we're just taking extra precautions to make sure that we're doing everything that we need to be doing so that we don't spread the virus or even contract the virus.
It's hard though because um, we could be doing everything that we need to do, but the person that we run into who isn't, 6 feet away isn't doing it. So
Yeah.
it's kind of it's like hit or miss.
It's upsetting because I see people not like they don't take the warnings seriously, right?
Yeah.
They have their kids at stores just roaming around like everything's all okay, and sometimes I'll see the parents with their kids, and they're not social distancing. Sometimes they'll be wearing masks, but the kids won't be wearing a mask. It's just backwards. Like, I feel like we're still moving backwards, and until we can flatten the curve a little bit and we can really control how people should be taking this seriously, then if we can't get to that point, I don't think we're gonna be anywhere near closing this quarantine and finally getting back to some sort of normalcy. Because as I've been hearing and as I agree, I don't think we'll ever go back to whatever we think normal was.
Mm-hmm.
Because at this point right now, I feel like there's no possible way that we can go back to like grabbing each other and being too close to each other, because now we have that fear in the back of our minds that this is still going on, because you can't really fix the issue in a couple weeks or even a month or two. Like, I think this is going to take some time to really like get under control, but till then we just have to take these necessary steps to just avoid all of it.
Yeah. I think with going back to what you said about kids and parents, I see posts about like people who don't have kids being like, leave your kids at home, and just random people getting upset that people are still taking their kids into the store.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that.
Well,
I don't agree with people getting upset at those parents
that
they take them to the store.
Well, then that would be kind of directed towards me, because I preach a lot about that.
Well, for me, it's I saw a post where it had a little girl with a paintbrush on her back,
Yeah.
and it said, I can't stay at home by myself. I'm 6 years old. My dad's the only one working. My mom has to run errands. Keep 6 feet away from me. Thank you very much. And I think that's true. Like, me and you were very lucky that we have my mom, who lives literally 2 seconds away from us.
Right.
So if we need to, we can leave Maya with her and we can go to the store, get our groceries, come back, take precautions, change our clothes, wash our hands, and all that. But some other parents aren't lucky. Like, they don't have that help, or they're single parents, or only one of them is working.
Well, I agree with you on that.
And I think the thing that makes me mad more is that it's people who don't have kids. Like, if you don't have a kid, if you didn't birth a kid, if you didn't have C-section to have that kid out, or foster or adopt a kid, like, you have no opinion because you don't know what that parent's going through. I mean, people say, well, I've babysat kids my whole life. Like, that's different than raising a child. That's very different.
I don't know. I don't think you're understanding what some people are saying. For example, I've been saying that kind of this whole week, where it's like, if you have a kid, like, leave them at home when you go out, because
What if you can't?
What? Let me get to that. In my post, I made sure to get that point across. Mm-hmm. I understand that some people can't, but if you can, do so. Mm-hmm. Like, avoid all your kids going out, because it's probably the safest thing for your kids. And then once you get home, take the necessary precautions, strip down, take all your clothes off, put those to wash, and then put on some new clothes and wash your hands and everything before you touch your kids, right? in the case that you can't, what I'm saying is, make sure that your kids have a mask on. Make sure that your kids are right next to you, and make sure that you're distancing yourself from people the necessary.
I agree with you on that. Like on that, keeping your kid close to you and keeping a mask on, which is completely different than what I'm saying.
Right. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is,
I just think in this time, like, we're being so harsh on other people because they're not staying home.
Right.
And you saw the post that I shared on Facebook where it said, we need to be less judgmental because we don't know their situation at home. The man in the hardware store buying paint could be keeping busy because he comes from a history of addiction. And being at home without a job could easily lead to picking up a beer or buying some drugs. And that's the way he's keeping busy. The lady buying gardening stuff.
That's different from what you're saying, because when you started saying this, I thought you were talking about the kids that are leaving their kids at home.
No, I'm talking about everyone in general, because like everyone's, as much as we wanna stop this, but we're also being cruel. Like I think people are being too cruel to other people around this time because they're not staying home or they're not keeping their kids home. When we don't know what they're going through.
There are people that are just ignorant to this situation because they still think that this is not.
Oh yeah, definitely. In Oregon, they just put all Latinos on blast, saying that in Oregon, Latinos are the ones that are the highest in getting contaminated.
Well, that's true.
Because
it's African Americans and Hispanics only because of the fact that systemic racism has been a huge issue in this country, and the fact that we can't get Medicare and health care is a big reason why, if we're showing symptoms, we're not going to the doctor because we don't have the insurance to be able to get the help that we need. So of course the colored, us skin colored people are gonna of course be the most effective because of the fact that we don't have that health coverage.
Well, yeah, that, but how about the fact that when we go, like yesterday when we went to the store in downtown, there's like groups and groups of like Hispanic men just talking, like they're not keeping 6 feet away. That's why in Oregon we're considered the highest contamination, because I think as Hispanics we think, just rub some Vaporu on it and we'll be fine.
That's not accurate though. Here in Oregon, we're not the highest. We're not the highest that are being contaminated, because New York is the hottest spot. So
they're talking about in Oregon which ethnicity is been the highest, and they say that in Oregon, Latinos are the ones that are being the highest.
Let's be honest. We'll call a spade a spade. We're not really. Our race isn't really known for taking these kind of things seriously.
Oh yeah, like tomorrow, how many families do you think are gonna get together for barbecues?
We can't really speak for other people because for us, I've been making it a point to make sure that I'm trying to educate as much as I can, as accurately as I can. Right? I can't control what other families are doing. I'm just hoping that everybody is doing their part by social distancing, and at the end of the day, we can only control how much we go out and make sure that we get everything that we need to, so we don't have to go out, and just wait until all this is lifted, and once we get back to normal, some sort of normal, then at that point we can really see who's whoever took it serious, they took it serious, and whoever didn't, well, God bless them. And
hopefully
all we can really do is keep praying for people that to keep everybody safe, and hopefully we can just get over this little hump that we're going through. And
it's a pretty big hump.
Yeah, but oh well, I don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say.
What's going on in the other people's heads?
Yeah, I'm all quarantined out. I'm like coronavirused out. I'm super over it.
Like everyone else is.
Yeah, I'm sure everybody just wants to get back to their regular scheduled life. We were just talking about, taking a trip down to a place called Wildlife Safari.
Mm-hmm.
My birthday was kind of canceled. Maya's birthday was kind of canceled.
My mom's is
your-
Monday.
Yeah. But she doesn't really do much anyway.
No, but we always, like, we've always trying to go out to eat,
Right.
take her to Red Lobster or, Sizzler's, like, her two favorite places to go eat.
Right. And then your sister's pregnant.
My sister's pregnant and she's due
about
any
to-
day. And
Yeah, any
we
day
can't
now,
go in there to visit her like we did with the other two.
unfortunately.
So.
Yeah, a lot of things are getting in the way of enjoying these great moments. Our daughter, we talked to you guys on the last podcast, I believe, about how she was about to turn 5. We had this big birthday party for her, and now she couldn't have it like she wanted to. We did do a little family thing here, but it was only us that are just stuck here at the house, and we made sure that nobody came in contact with anybody, so we made sure everybody was safe. And then I think for my birthday, I was hoping that a little bit of everything just calmed down, so then we could have a couple of our closest friends come over and we could just maybe drink a little bit and have some games and stuff. But unfortunately that didn't happen.
I think it got worse.
Yeah,
After like Maya's birthday, it got like everything just got worse.
Yeah, I'm glad we didn't risk it. And then a couple of our closest people, they've been sick, and I don't think it's a coronavirus. You know what I think? I think this started a little bit before January, I believe.
Mhm.
And do you remember I was sick for like 3 weeks?
They said that in like October and November when people were sick.
You remember when I was like super
all
sick?
of us were sick.
We were sick for like 3 weeks.
Yep.
I think we had it already.
That's what Maya's preschool teacher, she was saying that like everyone that was sick around those times probably had it, but they didn't know because you would test for the flu.
You know what I think?
And it would come out negative.
I think that whoever had it, we had it. The mortality rate is, the recovery rate, I believe, is higher than the death rate, right?
Thank goodness.
I think that when we went through it, there wasn't so much talk about COVID-19 and people were dying from it, right?
It was mostly heard in Japan at that time.
Right. And so I think that if we had it already, we weren't panicking. We weren't
losing our minds
over oh, this is a pandemic. I think once the word pandemic came around, and I feel like after all these death rates started going up, I think people started panicking more, and I think, and this is just my my conspiracy theory self saying, once panic mode started hitting, I think it escalated the virus inside people to be like, I'm dying, and then they panicked themselves to death. And so I'm just an idiot thinking these things, but there might be some truth to that.
Maybe because we were sick for a while, like the three of us.
Yep.
And then my mom and them, they all got sick too. My grandma had pneumonia, remember?
Yeah, I remember we were going through it, and it was just the worst feeling in the world. Like, I remember having these crazy chills. I don't know if I had a fever, because I'm not one to ever check my temperature. I always feel like I have a fever, but body aches, and I was coughing like crazy. I was like,
your throat hurt.
My throat was hurting, runny nose. Like, I had it bad. We all did, and so I feel like we all had it already, and I think our bodies. But they've been saying that in China or something, they said that the people that had already recovered were getting it again.
Oh yeah, well they're saying that it's kind of like the flu where it's gonna be seasonal.
Yeah, but and I keep hearing this, what I feel like is that the virus, when you got it again, and your body had already built antibodies for it, I think it just kind of uh, escalated to a different type of virus. So it gave you the same virus and said, "Oh, you're trying to fight me off." It mutated, and then it's a bigger virus. So I think it got worse. And then whoever had that second stage in the virus was contaminating other people to make that virus worse.
Wow.
I don't know.
Didn't
That's what
hear
I
that.
think. There might be some truth to that too.
I think it's really hard to believe what you read because there's so many like news stations that are like reporting one thing and then another one's reporting the other, and I think it kind of like if it doesn't give you more anxiety, but it keeps confusing you because you don't know what's true. I think that's why like I try to stay off, like ignore when it comes up on my times, because then I go into like a panic mode and I start getting anxiety because like if I go to the grocery store, like I'm thinking who has it around me because this is what I read on Facebook or this is what I read on the news.
I think my advice is just go to the CDC website and read all their updates, and just
Get accurate
don't be
facts.
listening to other people. Don't even listen to us, right? We're just we're just talking because we feel like this is what we know. But
We're just giving our 2 cents.
yeah, but the truth of the matter is, Jesus, did you hear that? The truth of the matter. The truth of the matter is that you should be listening to the CDC and any credible doctor to tell you what's really going on and what you really need to do to take care of yourself, and not listen to everybody else, because everybody thinks they know everything, and then that's what's going to lead you to
You're one of those people.
panicking. Yeah, but it's because I'm reading off of CDC's website, so I'm making sure that
Your facts is straight.
my facts are straight, and then I'm also listening to credible doctors that are telling me this is what you need to do. If you feel like you have a fever, if you feel like you have a temperature, of course, new symptoms are popping up on a daily basis. Damn near.
Lose your taste of
Lose
sense.
your taste of sense, your taste of hearing. You know, now when I call the doctor, they're asking you these questions, but you know, a week or two before they weren't asking those questions. And I asked my physician. I was like, hey, I noticed you were asking me 2 new questions about my taste of hearing, taste of smell. Is that true? And he said, you know, everything is changing on a daily basis, and so it just popped up on something that we had to start asking people. So there might be some, you know.
Yeah, I guess there's like people that are recovering or that are talking about their symptoms that they lost their sense of taste and their sense of smell.
Yeah.
And even after recovering, they still haven't gotten it back.
And that's what makes me feel like there's 2 different types of viruses going around, because you know, some people get that taste of smell and taste of the taste, but other people don't get it. So
Yeah.
you know. But yeah, speaking of doctors, I mentioned that I started going to therapy.
You told me.
Well, not really going to therapy, but
Phone therapy.
I have to be doing phone therapy, and yesterday was my first therapy session, and the only reason that I started doing that is because, you know, I thought I was getting the virus, because, you know, one of the symptoms is shortness of breath, and so I've been having a hard time breathing. I've been having a hard time trying to catch a breath, and so I felt like it was like, all right, I need to go to the doctor. So I tried to make an appointment. They were like, you know, we're not taking any patients in, but we'll give you a call. Your doctor will talk to you and see what we can prescribe, or if it's something that you definitely need to come in for. And so last week my doctor called me and she said, you know, let's run down some of these symptoms that you're having and see what's going on. And so I told her, and she's like, well, it sounds like you're okay. You don't have a fever. You don't have a cough. You don't have runny nose. So I think what you're experiencing is anxiety and stress, and I was like, duh, like I've been experiencing that forever, right?
Yeah, you've always had issues
And I
with anxiety.
and I've had times where I felt like maybe therapy was something that I really definitely needed to start doing. And then so she's like, okay, well, how does this sound? I'll set you up with the therapist. Um, as luck would have it, she was able to get me a therapist free of charge, and she said we'll just have to be scheduling you on the phone, so then you don't have to be coming in or no contact with anybody because we're practicing safe distancing. And so I was like, definitely, like, let's do it. And so, you know, I had my first therapy session with her. Her name was Dr. Lee, and it wasn't what I expected, but you know, it was kind of our first meeting, and it was good. I think it's weird because when I thought about my first therapy session, I thought we were gonna kind of get to know each other, but we kind of just went straight into it. And when I think about therapy, you know, I thought about, oh, I gotta go into this office, and she's gonna have a notebook, and I'm gonna be laying down on one of the chairs, and
Kind of what you see in movies.
yeah, in the movies. And this was just weird to me. And I was in my work clothes. I took my lunch and did my 30-minute therapy session with her, and I spent my whole lunch just jumping up, jumping from topic to topic about things that have been stressing me out. And you know, she just said, you know, just do some cognitive uh, breathing and practice controlling what when you feel like you're anxious. Just practice controlling those nerves and those stress, and just channel it into a breath, and then just take deep breaths in and out. And then, you know, if you feel like it's getting worse, then definitely that's something that you need to get checked out. But usually when people have stress and anxiety, and it just usually means that, you know, their chest is kind of tensing up the muscles, and you just feel like mentally you can't breathe because you just feel like you have so much built up inside you that you just can't breathe. And so it was definitely a weird experience. I'm excited to probably keep continuing on this therapy journey, but we'll see where that goes.
I think if we weren't in the pandemic that we're in, you probably would have gotten, like, your first session, you guys would probably gotten to know each
I
other.
I don't even think I would have gone to therapy, honestly.
You don't think so?
I don't think so, because I was okay. I've been able to
Control.
Over the years, I've been able to learn how to control my breathing, know when I'm panicking and when I'm not. And then, you know, a lot of the times when I feel something, like if I'm drunk, like and my body's doing something weird where I'm like, oh, I'm dying, right? Over the past couple years, with the experience of, you know, substances that I've taken, where, you know, your body starts telling you that, oh, you're having a heart attack or something. A lot of people will go to the doctor, the hospital, because they feel that, but it's really just your mental and your body trying to react to this differently, right? And so I kind of have learned how to control that. And so I think with anxiety, it kind of goes hand in hand. And so that just has helped me out with anxiety. So I don't know.
Hopefully therapy helps.
Yeah, I hope so. But I don't think with all this going on, and the quarantining and stuff, and the pandemic, of course, you know, it's gonna mess with Easter. Easter's coming up tomorrow. Today we're recording the podcast on Saturday. It's about 11:30 in the night. You know, it's a little more quieter than it usually is because, you know, our daughter's sleeping.
Our dogs are sleeping.
Our dogs are sleeping, so we don't have the noisy background, which is nice. I like this. I could get used to it.
It's just like you're kind of drained from the day.
Yeah, I'm tired. Like if you guys are hearing this and you guys hear a lot of pausing, it's only because we're so tired that we're trying to keep our thoughts and focusing on whatever we need to say and just trying to get through this podcast as smoothly as possible.
I just think because it's been so sunny these like last couple of days, and every day, you know, we go out for walks on the property, and today you started chopping down
that was terrible,
all of the berries, the wild berries growing. It tires you out, like the sun and moving around, it tires you out. Like I think since we've been taking walks every day, Maya goes to sleep so much more faster, so it's nice. But when we're trying to record this, you just
I just like I have no intentions of wanting to come in, like I have intentions of wanting to come in and knock it out, but like the days are just so nice, like you said, and so it's just like one thing leads to another. Like I meant to do it 3 days ago, and then we got busy. I meant to do it 2 days ago.
We got busy.
Well, I think 2 days ago we meant to do it, or was it, no? Yeah, 2 days ago, and we got busy with something, and then yesterday. We would have done it if we hadn't rented.
We did a little movie night for the kids.
Yeah, we ended up getting the Trolls movie, the new Trolls movie, which is nice. I like that. The you know, since the theaters are closed, we would have probably had to wait 3 months for this movie to come out, and we were able to get it on our phones and put it on a big screen TV and have them watch it. There was popcorn, there was candy and stuff,
juice. They danced to the music, and
I think they enjoyed it.
Yeah, I just think giving them that experience of like kind of being in the theater, but not really, kind of just it had them comfortable enough to want to just sit there and watch it.
Right, it was nice.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, hopefully Easter tomorrow. You know, we're still gonna try to carry out the tradition of hiding eggs. We went to the store and got a couple little goodies like. Toys and whatnot that we're gonna hide, candies and eggs, and hopefully it's like a, you know, usually we do carne asada,
which if you're Catholic, I grew up Catholic, when this whole Easter time starts, every Friday we don't eat meat.
Right.
And since this is the Holy Week, on Wednesday, since Wednesday we haven't eaten meat, so on Sunday we always barbecue because it's where we can finally have meat. And out of you and me, I'm the big meat eater. Like, I love meat.
I'm not a fan of meat.
So it's exciting.
Yeah. You know? And so tomorrow, I think this whole week since Wednesday, we haven't eaten any meat.
No, we've had chicken.
I'm glad to say that I haven't eaten meat, I think, either, because usually something happens to where I forget, and then but I have caved accidentally the past.
I think the first Friday you had
I had a little cheat on accident, of course, and then I think the second time it happened I might have had an accident. And then I caught myself, and then I said, "Well, shoot, I'm already eating it."
Yeah.
And then after that, I haven't eaten anything that I shouldn't be eating. But hopefully tomorrow, we can get some kind of meat and eat some meat. So.
Yeah. Should be fun.
Yeah.
I think our barbecues are always a good time because we're just outside, and
it'll help. It'll help us with forgetting all this going on. Although I think I mentioned to you the other day that with us going out to walk every day, it makes it feel like, since we're not on our phones, like nothing's going on. Like,
yeah, I think at least for me, I don't really think much of a difference because, like I said, my regular routine is I go to the grocery store, I come home, and we're home unless like we have to do some errand, or if I don't feel comfortable going to a store without you. So now that like everything's closed, like if we need to go to the grocery store, I go to the grocery store. If we don't, we're just home.
Right.
So it's not really much of a change. I just think seeing everything on social media is what kind of makes it more real.
I don't even know if it makes it more real. It just kind of overhypes everything that's going on. So you're just glued to, oh, what's going to happen next?
Mm-hmm.
Like,
I'm just thankful that our grocery stores are starting to kind of put, you know, toilet paper and paper towels
Jesus.
on the shelves.
Yep.
Because for the longest time, like, it's like finding a needle in a haystack.
I went to this store called Dollar General. I think it was Friday.
Yep.
'Cause you asked me to get a little pool, a little kiddie pool for our dogs, and I was standing in line. You know, it was just 3 of the associates working there, one guy that was there paying, and then, you know, I was just waiting behind him, in my 6 feet behind him. I was waiting for him to finish paying, right? And then one of the girls was unboxing items that she was
That are essential.
No, it was just she was unboxing stuff that of a shipment that they had just received, and in that shipment there was what are they called, the disinfectant wipes. And so she's like, oh look, we got disinfectant wipes. The guy didn't even think twice. He just grabbed it. He's like, can I have that? And so he took it. It was the only one in the box.
Really?
Yeah. And then she's like, oh, did I forget to mention? And then she yelled. There was nobody in the store besides us. She was like, everybody, there's hand sanitizer on the shelves now. And then she's like, the other girl was like, I bet you that if there was people in the store, they would have ran there and tumbled and kicked and rolled and did everything possible to get that hand sanitizer. And so, yeah, I was just jokingly, I was like, so where'd you say the hand sanitizer was? But we've had an issue with that where it's like I haven't been able to find, like, I carry hand sanitizer around with me now, so whenever we go to the stores and stuff, like, that's how serious we've been taking this. And it's just like,
we have disinfectant
wipes, everything.
We like wipe our hands, wipe the steering wheel, everything that we've touched.
Every single time we get in the car, whenever we get out the car.
When we come home, we change our clothes.
Jesus, yeah.
It's
I think
crazy.
we haven't done laundry this much in
I know.
ever. So,
It's crazy. I think for me, it's because my grandparents are here and they're older.
Yeah, that's what I'm worried about. The kids and your grandparents.
I don't want them to. And my sister, because she's
your
pregnant.
Dad, too. He's kind of more elderly.
My dad's like, I just want everyone to stay home because I want this to be over so they can open up the casinos.
Yeah. But, you know, so yeah, during the midst of all this, you know, everything going crazy these last couple weeks, and you know, the craziest thing happened to us, right? You know, with the pandemic going on and quarantine and no toilet paper, no hand sanitizer, with everything possible that could be going wrong, and we're like,
and the year that we've had. If you've listened to our previous podcast when we talked about everything that happened
these last couple months,
you think
what else could go wrong?
You think April's gonna be a good month?
April Fools.
Right on April Fools too.
We were like, you know, what else could go wrong? Like, nothing could possibly go wrong. You know, everything's going right. It looks like, besides this pandemic, you know, with stimulus checks coming in and all that, you know, what could go wrong? And then the craziest thing goes wrong.
April 1st, which is ironic, April Fools. You left for work. What time do you usually leave the house?
Well, yeah, start with...
Because it happened in the morning. So what time do you usually leave for work?
I leave for work at about 5:20.
5:20, because I never check my phone. Once I hear you close the door, I get up and I double lock our door.
Right.
And that day, you got up. I heard you leave. I double locked the door. And at like 6:30, there was knocking on the window.
Right.
Or on the front door.
The front door.
And I got up and I opened our bedroom door just to make sure that I had double locked the door.
Right.
And I went back into the room. I locked the room. I laid in bed. And again, like 5 minutes later, they started knocking again.
Right.
And I just stayed quiet. And then it stopped. And I thought they had left.
Right.
And then I hear the fence that's next to our room push open. Like someone shoved it open.
Right.
And I made sure that our curtain was fully closed so no one could look inside. And I just laid there quietly, and then I heard tapping on the window. And it stopped, and then they started tapping again, but harder.
Wow.
And our little dog that stays in our room, she started growling.
Right.
And at that time, I just I was scared,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't want to call anyone because at the same time I thought, maybe it's my dad. Maybe he locked himself
Right.
out of the house because that's happened. Or
Mm-hmm.
maybe it's you. And since I double locked the door, you can't open it.
Right.
But at the same time, like, I knew it wasn't either of them.
Is that because...
Because why would you go all the way to the window?
Right.
And
I
if
mean...
if it was you, you would have called out for
right.
me.
I would have called.
And same with my dad. Like, he would have called out for me if
Right.
it was him.
Or he would have called you.
So, that was that morning. And later that day, my parents went to Costco.
Mm-hmm.
And when they came back, my sister told them that there was a van parked on the side of the road.
Right.
And you know how we have a big fence
Right.
in the backyard?
Right.
They were parked there, and when my dad went out to look for it, it sped off.
Wow.
And I think we just brushed it off. Like, we were just like, whatever. Because cars parked there before, like, their car breaks down. They're like looking for directions. Like, I think since we own a contracting business, people drive by the house and not know that that's our house. So they stop and they call my dad. They're like, hey, which one's your house? So it could have been one of those.
Yeah.
So we brushed it off. We went our days as normal. What time was it? Like 1 o'clock when you got up to take the dogs out? Yeah, it was like 1 o'clock, 1:30.
No, it was like 2:30.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, it was 2:30.
Because it happened at 2:30.
No, it happened at 3. I could tell you exactly what time it happened.
Okay, so either way, around that time where you took the dogs out, you took them out to go bathroom because they were crying.
Yes.
You came back in, you laid down, and we just were sleeping, and it felt like it was already 5 o'clock. Like, I just felt like I was sleeping for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up because Pascal was crying. And he was crying, but he was growling. And our dog Pascal, if you get near him when he's in his kennel, he growls.
Right.
Like, because he wants to protect himself, so he growls. So he was growling, but he was crying. And I woke up thinking like, oh, Christian's probably trying to get ready for work. So I'm going to take the dogs out so he can get ready for work. And then I heard someone tell Pascal, shush, be quiet.
Yeah.
And I kept thinking like, oh, like he's probably like trying to make sure that the dog doesn't wake us up. And I stretched my arms out, and you were still laying right next to me.
Right.
And that's when my heart dropped.
I don't mean to cut you off. Okay, so that morning, I remember I got up it was 1:30 in the morning.
To take the dogs out?
Well, no. I woke up at 1:30 because prior to that, as I explained, I had been having super bad trouble breathing.
Uh-huh.
And so at 1 o'clock, I had the worst trouble breathing. I got up because like I just couldn't I couldn't get comfortable. And then I had I couldn't catch a breath. And so with that and hearing the dogs whining and complaining, just couldn't sleep. I was just super exhausted. And so I remember at 1:29 exactly, I texted my boss and I was like, "Hey, I have to take the day off. I'm having a hard time breathing." I told her it started yesterday and today it's progressed and now I'm having chest pains because I'm trying to breathe and whatnot. And then I remember I texted her that, and then I got up, put my slippers on, put on a sweater, and it's weird now that I think about it in hindsight that I would have never thought in a million years this would have happened, right? So then I walked out normally. I opened the door. I let the dogs out. I was out there, um, making sure that the dogs went to the bathroom and drank their water before they came back in. I was probably no out there. I was out there for maybe no more than like 5 minutes, and then the dogs finally came back inside, and then I closed the door. I locked the dogs back in their cages, and then I went back to
Kennels.
in their kennels, and went back into the room. I made sure I locked the doors, and then I went into the room. I locked the door in our room as I usually do, and then I laid down and I went back to sleep.
Yeah.
And then at this time, it was at like 3:30, like
Yeah.
3 o'clock,
Yeah.
3:30.
Yeah, like I was saying, I felt you lay next to me,
Right.
and that's when my heart dropped to my stomach. I was like half asleep, but when I felt you laying next to me, I fully woke up,
Right.
and that's when I told you, I'm like, babe, there's someone in our house.
And I remember you waking me up, and I freaked out, and the first thing I did was I jumped out of my bed, I grabbed my gun, and then I took the safety off, and then I made sure that there was a clip in there, and then I pulled my clip back, and I loaded the gun.
Like,
And
you were ready for
I
whatever
stood
happened.
right in front of that door, right next to the window, to make sure that there was like, if there was any lights going on because if you shine a light into the window, if I look outside from our window,
You can see a shadow.
I can see lights and shadows going on in the kitchen. So
Yeah.
that's what I was looking for, and I was just
So-
making sure that there was, nothing going on. But I made sure that I was standing right in front of the door if anything ever happened.
Yeah, and I told you, get my keys. Get my
Right.
keys. And you're like, where are your keys? Where are your keys? I'm like, they're in my purse.
I was freaking out because I couldn't find them too.
And you threw me my purse.
Right.
And I grabbed my keys. And I saw this post on Facebook where it said, sleep with your keys in your bedroom
Right.
or by your bed. Because if someone is in your house, you turn on your car alarm.
Tell them how stupid I am. Tell them how stupid I am. That I always sleep with my keys in the room, right?
Yeah,
because I set up my keys,
Your
my wallet, and I get them ready for
the next day
for the next
work.
day.
Yeah, so I saw that post, and so I immediately thought, my keys. So we turned on our car alarm.
Right.
And like any car alarm, it rings forever
Right.
until you turn it off.
Correct.
So we turned it on, and it rang 3 times, and then it got turned off.
And so
And you looked at me, and you're like, why'd you turn it off? I'm like, I didn't turn it off. And we did it again. We turned on the alarm. It rang again 3 times, and it got turned off.
And that's when I really started feeling like there was somebody in the house, because I remember I left my keys here where we record at is my own personal studio, and right next door is the bathroom, right? And then next door to that is the kitchen. And so that's where I had left my keys and my jeans ready in my pocket, and I left them here in the little studio room, because when I come in here, I turn on the heater in the studio room, and then I could have turned on my car to get it warmed up while I brushed my teeth, right? And so I felt like maybe somebody grabbed my keys and they were probably turning off the alarm, so then
Yeah, because it doesn't turn off unless
you
Yeah, and so by the second time it went off, my mom called me.
Right.
And she's like, do you know your car alarm's going off? And I'm like, Mom, there's someone in our house.
Yep.
And she's like, what? I'm like, I'm calling 911. And I hung up the phone.
Right.
And she called you.
She called me immediately.
And I'm on the phone with 911. And unfortunately, where we live, the Woodburn police doesn't handle those calls.
Right.
They send it over to the Marion County Sheriff Department.
Okay.
So they're like, the sheriffs are going out there. And I think it took them forever to get here.
It took them about 15 to maybe... well, I don't know. I don't know because...
I think
that
at that
time,
instance...
That time we waited, and, you know, with everything going on in the house, the time that it took them felt like forever.
It did. But while we were, like, on the phone with 911, like, we could hear someone in the kitchen because our dog just kept on, like, getting crazier and crazier.
And so when, as she said, when our dogs growl and stuff, is because there's someone right next to their cage and they either want to get out or they feel threatened, and then they start, you know, getting agitated.
And it was like a 16-minute call with 911.
Yep.
And finally, you know, they're like, do you hear anybody? Do you hear anybody? And we're like, yeah, you know, like, you can hear people or a person in our kitchen because our dog's going crazy. And they're like, okay, you know. And finally, they're like, you guys need to go outside. You guys need to leave the house.
That's when I freaked out because I was like, you want me to go out?
I handed you the phone because I didn't think I heard her right. And I don't know what she told you, but at that instant, she said, grab your daughter. You need to go outside.
Right.
And our daughter was sleeping, which I thank God she didn't wake up because she would have freaked out too.
Yeah, I was afraid that she was going to start crying.
And so I picked her up. I covered her with a blanket. And you were on the phone with the dispatch.
Yeah, I was.
And we walked out of the house, and the whole time I'm thinking, if they're in the kitchen and we walk out, what if they grab one of us?
And that's what I was upset about, because right when you told me they were here, you're like, put your gun away. And I'm like, they expect me to walk out there without my gun? Like, yeah. And so that was what I was freaking about.
And yeah, we walked out. And there was like eight sheriffs, two dogs, and they're like, you guys need to go out to the road.
Mind you, I went outside in just my basketball shorts, no socks, with my slippers on. Same. And just I think I had like a short sleeve shirt on.
Same. I went out with slippers, my sweats, and a short sleeve shirt. The only one that had a blanket was Maya.
Which is probably the most important.
And yeah, we walked out, and you know, my parents, they were up, like, they were freaking out too. And we went into their house, and we waited, and all you hear is like, you know, the house is surrounded, come out with your hands up.
Yeah, they're like, Marion County Sheriff's Department, come out with your hands up. We got the whole place surrounded. We're armed. If you have any weapons, do not come out with your weapons in your hand. And they waited there for maybe like 5 to 10 minutes, and outside, just pointing their light inside our house. And then finally they decided, they're like,
it's safe to go in.
No, they said, all right, we got our dogs, canines coming in. Do not make any sudden movements. Our dogs will bite you. If you're in there, come out now. We're sending the dogs. And, you know, nobody came out, and they sent the dogs.
Yeah, I think that was the scariest thing ever, to hear all of that. Like,
yeah, it was so unreal. Like,
yeah, because you don't ever think that that's gonna happen. And
well, we know it's gonna happen because it happened to my parents, right? But for them, luckily, it happened when they were out of the house going to work. But it happens, right? But for us,
well, at least for me, I didn't think it would ever happen. Because if you think about where we live, we basically live in the middle of nowhere. So, and our neighbors are literally, like, they're far.
It's like a football field away.
Yeah. So to, like, hear all of that going on and see, like, our house surrounded, it's scary.
Yeah.
Like, it's terrifying. And, you know,
like I was when we were told to walk out of the house and walk towards the sheriffs and walk to the street, all I'm seeing is sheriffs just passing me by, not even paying us any mind, just passing us by with with assault rifles and shotguns and
Well, that's
stuff.
what we were greeted with as we
Right.
were walking out. Like you're on the phone telling them you don't see them, and then they come out
Yeah, because
behind the car
yeah, I didn't see anybody
with a
outside.
gun pointed at
Right.
us.
Yeah,
Like,
it was the craziest thing ever. Like,
I am so thankful that they came when they came
Yeah.
and they did what they did, and luckily every single one of the sheriffs that were there were really kind,
they were nice. Yeah,
and they were very like, they calmed us down. They
they handled the situation with the most professionalism, and they made sure to check every inch of whatever they could in the property. They even went. They went next door to our house is a garage or a shed or whatever you want to call it, and they made sure to check in the little locked room that used to be my studio. They made sure to check upstairs. They made sure to check all around there. They had canines sniffing the property. They went to the back of our house.
I think they went the extra mile to
made sure
literally
that,
check every inch
Yeah.
of our property
yeah.
with dogs.
So it was it was a very scary moment. I never in my life thought that I would ever have to load my gun and load the chamber and say to myself, if someone walks through that door, I'm gonna blow their brains out. Like, never. Like, I haven't shot my gun since I got it, and that was not the time that I ever thought that I would ever have to shoot it. Like, in my life, I never thought this is the first time I'm ever gonna shoot it. This is awesome. I wouldn't have ever wanted to shoot it. I never want to shoot it at anybody at that. So,
To be put in that situation.
luckily, I didn't. It didn't have to go to that. Luckily, nobody got hurt. Luckily, so from what the sheriff had told me, in our laundry room, when you walk into our kitchen, you walk to a separate corner of the laundry of the kitchen, and then there's a door that goes to the laundry room. And in the laundry room, when you open the door, immediately you can open the outside,
The door that leads
the
to
door
outside.
that leads to outside, right? And so, I had just bought in a punching bag, and the box that came with the punching bag, I set that right in front of the inside of the laundry room, and so I did that purposely just in case someone opened our door. I could see that someone opened the door and where they opened it, and so the sheriff said, "Hey, did you have the box that you have in front of your laundry room door? Did you have that set right in front of the door?" And I said, "Yeah, I set it there purposely, so just in case I knew someone walked into our laundry room." And he said, "Well, it looks like somebody walked out of your laundry room door because it looks like someone prompted it open, and that's probably how they got out." And then so I think in the midst of you calling 911 and them hearing the car alarms and everything, they might have got spooked, and maybe they just walked out the back door and made it look like there was that nobody was in there, because we have no sign of breaking and entering. So it in my mind, I'm trying to figure out how the hell they got into the house.
Yeah.
Without any breaking and entering. So, I think one theory that you had was that when I took the dogs out, I might have left the door creaked open and they might have gone in there. And, because I didn't walk into the house when I came in after the dogs. I didn't come into the house and check every single room before going back to bed. So
because when you take the dogs out, I usually wake up.
Right.
And literally you had just walked out, and I thought you walked in and you were waiting for them inside, because I heard someone in the kitchen.
That's crazy.
And I was like, oh, he's probably like in the kitchen,
No, I literally sat. I was literally standing outside in front of the gate,
Yeah.
making sure that the dogs were, and usually we leave a light open outside in the front of our house, but we haven't been turning it on lately.
I think it was unplugged because
We had been, I don't know why it's been unplugged, but
Yeah.
we haven't turned it on since Christmas.
Yeah.
Literally, we haven't turned it on, and I just started turning it on again.
Yeah. So that was our morning.
Right.
Luckily, we're all safe and
Yeah, I didn't go to work that day. Ironically, it felt weird telling my boss, "Hey, I can't come in. I'm having trouble breathing." And then not like an hour and a half later, I was like, "Hey, just to make matters worse, this is what happened. So I'm definitely not coming in today." And so, that day I stayed home. Your dad went to go get a new door, and we put that in the laundry room. And so because the laundry room door never closed before, and
which
so,
made it easier for them to get out.
to get out. And so he went to go get a new door. He bought a steel extra door to put in our front door, so it's extra lock. So now there's two doors with the extra lock on there.
Yeah.
And so, make it a little harder. I thought about getting cameras for the house, but your dad didn't think it was a good idea. I mean,
we have a ring that we can install that we just bought, so we just need to install that. That was April 1st. April 2nd was when you didn't go to work. You went back to work on Friday, which was April 3rd.
Mm-hmm.
That Friday, I got a call from the sheriffs because my number was on file because I called 911. Right. They said that they checked the whole property thoroughly. They checked around the house. They said, we saw footprints outside your house, but we also saw other footprints around the property.
Right.
So by any chance, do you guys take walks? I said, yeah, we go walks, every day when it's nice. He said, well, we can't decide if, that's someone who broke into your house or if it's just your footprints. So they said we have a sheriff that circles where we live to make sure that there's no big gatherings because of the social distancing.
Right.
He's like, we're going to let him know and let him know that happened and keep an eye out for the car. They think that it might have been like a homeless person.
We have a lot of those around the house.
Yeah, they said that it might have been a homeless person because if it was someone who had intentions of taking something,
because nothing
in
was
that split
taken.
second, they would have taken whatever they could have gotten their hands on and dipped.
They literally didn't take anything.
So,
that I know, they didn't take anything.
So they think that it was like a homeless person or someone just like looking to scare us. And they said that morning that all that happened, they were just probably scouting the house, seeing if we were home and all of that.
Because that's what it sounds like, with someone coming to knock 2 days before and then...
No, that morning.
Well, no, because 2 days before that... So, the day before that, you said someone came knocking, and then so it sounded like, they were just... they were just circling around to see what our schedule was like. It's very impossible to catch someone here at the house. It's very hard to catch this house alone.
Yeah, there's always
someone here. So you literally have to scout this house for weeks, maybe months, to get a clear understanding that maybe this is not the house that we should be going to, because there's always someone here. So I think there might have been someone that lives, a homeless person that lives on the sides of the roads around here. Very hard to know. We didn't catch anybody. Yeah. But, thank God nothing happened. I would say thank God they didn't take anything, but who the F cares if they would have taken anything as long as nothing happened to us. But they didn't take anything. They could have taken any of my studio equipment. I have an Xbox out here in the living room. I have expensive stuff here in my studio. Anything possible, a TV they could have taken, anything, but nothing was stolen. And like I said, nobody was hurt. And at the end of the day, thank God for the cops. They showed up as fast as they could. And
it's funny because you always put your keys in the room. Always. And I always leave my purse in the kitchen, in the living room.
How weird. It was
wherever I put it, that's where I leave it. And then, but that night I was like, oh, I should probably take my purse into the room.
Right.
And how ironic that night you left your keys out of the room.
Yeah, the weirdest, the universe is telling us something weird. And
but yeah, that was our welcoming of April.
Yeah.
And it sucked because that Friday, I was cooking dinner. You were still at work. And the door to the studio was kind of open, and I saw a shadow, and I grabbed the biggest knife that I could find, and I walked in there thinking that there was someone in there. Like, I think by now, like, my paranoia and my fear is at an all-time high.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they say that when stuff like this happens, even if they don't take something, they steal a little bit of your peace and a little bit of your safety.
Yeah.
And I can't sleep. Like, I think last night was the first night since this happened that I was able to just pass out.
Yeah.
And
well, like I said, as long as everything was okay, I'm glad, we're okay. And like I said, nobody got hurt and everything's good. But,
yeah.
Well, we got to wrap this up, but I got a question for you. You hate when I sleep with my gun next to me. Do you still feel like I shouldn't sleep with my gun next to me?
I don't have an issue with you sleeping with it next to you.
And we will leave it at that, folks.
My issue is that sometimes when you wake up to go to work,
I definitely forget
to put it away, and it's out there.
Yeah.
And when you do that, I want to throw it in the trash.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's...
Well, I think
that's our thing.
One of these days I need to get a small little safe that I can keep next to my bed. So then it can just be locked up in my own little safe next to the bed, so it can be closer to me.
But
although I think I'm part ninja, because the way that I hopped out of that bed and grabbed my gun and loaded that shit, I was ready.
Not even you, like my dad.
Your dad came out with this freaking shotgun, and I was just like, where are you going with that? Stay in the house, they're gonna shoot you.
My brother-in-law came out with his gun too.
Yeah.
And it's funny because my sister is 9 months pregnant, like we said.
Yeah.
And we didn't tell her what was going on. So she said she woke up and she heard, Marion County Sheriff, we have the house surrounded.
Yeah.
She thought, oh my God, he went out with his gun and they're about to shoot him. She was freaking out. Like, and he ran downstairs because he didn't know either.
Yeah.
And my dad grabbed him from his shirt and he's like, do not go out there with that. And they finally, he told him what was going on and he calmed down. I'm like, these 3 men here, I'm very grateful for the 3 of you, that the 3 of you decided to come out with your weapons to defend us. But
yeah, I need to chill out.
You 3 need to chill out.
Yeah.
Before we end,
yeah,
your birthday was on Sunday.
Yep.
How was it?
I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't remember.
You don't remember?
I don't remember. We made menudo. That was great.
One of your favorite foods.
Yep. You got me a Dragon Ball Z Shenron with the Dragon Balls, which is very nice. Except I kind of broke it a little bit, but I put some glue on it so you can't really notice it. It's a great gift. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to spend it with any of the friends that we have, and then I wasn't able to go see my parents. We haven't been able to go see them in a while.
Yeah.
But other than that, I can't complain. I'm sort of healthy. We're safe. We're still here, and I spent it with you and Maya and your family, and I couldn't ask for anything more in the times that we're in now. So
yep.
It was good.
26. I will post pictures of your birthday on our Instagram page.
Yeah, of course. We need to do a better job of
along with your pictures of your cake and your Shenron.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, of course. But yeah, well, we got to get out of here. It's about 12:12 at the moment, and we've been at this for about an hour and 10. So we're gonna try to get this up as soon as possible. And again, we're sorry that it's a little late.
Yeah.
But we hope that you guys enjoy this podcast. This is probably definitely one of our most intimate ones so far, just because of the fact that this is happening to us, and we didn't want to really talk about it on social media. Only the close ones to us know about the situation, but now you guys know, and we're gonna open up discussion soon, and maybe we can talk about it. And
if you guys go away with anything from this, is sleep with your car keys next to you.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, and as she said, always sleep with your keys next to you at night, because if anything like this ever happens, the best thing to do is definitely have your phone next to you, but your car keys, turn on your car alarm if it has one, and that will definitely get the attention of whoever might be in your house. And I guarantee that if the alarm just keeps going, they will not stick around.
And they also said if you live next to neighbors, like if you have close neighbors, make it your mission to go and tell them, hey, if my car alarm ever goes on at a random time at night or anytime during the day, call 911.
Yeah, keep that connection with your neighbors, have their phone numbers, and like she said, if there's any weird activity like your car alarm going off at night, like call me and ask me if everything's okay, and if not, call 911 and tell them this is going on, because if it keeps going, it's because something's happening.
Yep.
So hopefully we can, I think next episode I want to probably get some, because you have a list of things that you can do for safety, and so that's probably something that we should share. We'll try to get something like that where we can share some information about some tips that you guys can carry on with your day-to-day for safety and stuff, not just inside your house, but when you go out in public and stuff. So we'll get that gathered together, and we can share with you guys some of that stuff, so you guys can be informed of what you need to do or what you can do
to keep yourself safe.
By the way, I got you a taser, and that shit is scary. When you turn it on, I damn near dropped it when I first turned it on, because I was not expecting that. So
I only carry it, like I said, when
you should be carrying it every single day.
I don't carry it when you're with me, because I have you, so I depend on you to protect me.
If it was up to me, I'd carry it, but it's pink, and I don't want to be walking around with the pink taser.
Just be careful. Lock your doors. I think now, ever since this happened, we check our doors like at least 10 times.
Yeah. Definitely do.
And stay healthy. Sanitize.
Yeah, stay healthy. Wash your hands.
Wear a mask.
Wear a mask if you can, and you have the option to do so. Stay home. If you can avoid going to the store, please do so. If you need to go to the store, get everything that you possibly might need. Everything from dish soap to food to anything, laundry detergent, everything that you might need. Grab that in that one trip, so you don't have to keep going. We're the type of people that go every day to the store to get the food, but we've been trying to go, maybe on a weekly basis instead of daily basis. And keep your kids at home if you can, and if you can't, make sure they're protected as well. And if this is the time for a man to be the protector and the provider,
if there's a man,
and if possible, just send that mother effort to the store and just stay home, because just stay home, guys. And
stay busy.
Stay busy.
Don't
play
read
games.
into the social media.
And we'll catch you guys on the next episode. So again, this is another edition of the A Day in the Life podcast. My name is Christian.
My name's Ernestina, and go listen to Christian's new song.
Oh yeah, I got a new song out. I made a new SoundCloud. But the new song will be up on Spotify and Apple Music and all these DSPs soon. So For now, you can go on SoundCloud.com/season CEASON and look up Go Season GO. That's capital GO CEASON. And if you guys can, share it and listen to it and
Have a dance party.
Yep.
Make a TikTok video.
Yeah, that'd be dope. But yeah, all right, we'll catch you guys on the next episode.
Bye.
Bye.